Welcome back to the rules of engagement we just talked a little bit about. Thorzain versus Creator game number 1. Before we jump into analyzing game number 2, let me remind you guys, if you missed any segments of rules of engagement, you missed out on some of the MLG Winter Championship matches, Flash vs. Life, Life vs. Last. A lot of great matches happened there. You missed out on any Winter Exhibitions. You missed out on basically anything, or you want to find more StarCraft content. I guarantee you there's stuff you haven't seen yet that's amazing content on our YouTube page, youtube.com/official. MLGSC2, you can sort it there by most view to see what other people are looking at and find something that appeals to you. Now let's jump into analyzing Thorzain vs. Creator game number 2. A couple things we'll look at this game are Thorzain's opening build. We're going to talk about strategic reactions to your opponent doing a gateway timing. And then we're going to talk about the micro reactions to a gateway timing, the key aspects of how to defend said gateway timing. It's a very powerful timing, a lot of top protesters use it. So we're going to jump into this game at the 5-minute mark. And Thorzain's opening build is the first thing I'm going to talk about. So it's a macro PvP opening, right? You have the expansion first, right? Expansion, then he gets the expansion, then he gets a second barracks, then right after he starts second barracks, he starts 2 gases, right? So his first gas investment is this reactor. His second gas investment is going to be the tech lab. And the important thing about it is if you're ever doing a macro PvP opening, you need to have a scouting component to your build. It's very important to have some type of scouting component, or else you can be caught off guard. And you can't afford to play too conservatively, or you'll be behind. This is true in every matchup, by the way. This isn't just like Terrans have to do this and no one else does. This is true for everyone. You have to have a scouting component, right? And that's like Creator right now is scouting with Demolition Core. So what Thorzain's going to do is he's going to go ahead and get the Reaper to scout. So we're going to fast forward this and take a look at what this Reaper does. Always have to have that scouting component. Here's the Reaper. He's going to go and check around. We're actually just going to follow him. See exactly what he sees. So he goes in for the scout, and what does he see? Look at Thorzain's point of view. He sees 2 more gateways being built, right? Those are both, he clicked on them, they were both gateways. I didn't because I'm not as fast as he is. And of course he knew about, with his first SCV scout, he knew about this gateway here. So he knows it's 5 gateways this early on, 7:30. It's a gateway timing. So now he has to react to a gateway timing. So a couple things you notice him doing. 1, he gets a second, third bunker. That's great, right? But what do you not notice him doing? You don't notice him cutting SCVs because you don't want to cut SCVs. You don't notice him canceling an upgrade like attack. You don't notice him canceling stim. You don't notice him not getting to starport. So even if you need a solid defense, right? But especially as Terran, it's almost never necessary to cut SCV production or delay your tech. Keep those going all the time. SCVs will help in a defense. Medevacs can be essential at defending. So keep all your progression going and just get extra bunkers. Like right now, 3 bunkers is very difficult to hold this push. I was nervous when I watched this game, when I was casting this game. I often see Terrans get 5 from a Thorzain scout because bunkers are cheap. You can salvage them anyway. But Thorzain says, you know what, I can do it with 3. If you're scared, you think you can't do it, you know what, get 5. But still, keep getting SCVs, keep getting to starport. You have the money, right? You see your Thorzain sells plenty of money. You could easily get more bunkers. He's saving that money to build a 3rd command center. But you could feel free to go ahead and get the bunkers. Extra bunkers if you want, but don't cut SCV production. Don't delay your tech. Keep that cranking out at your normal speed. All right. Now, next thing I want to talk about is the key aspects of the Terran defense. So, one thing that helps a lot is you have SCVs in front of the bunkers. That's a tremendous, tremendous value. But what's the most important thing is the bunker placement, right? Bunker placement is the most important. Second most important thing is look at the production tab. I mean, we're going to keep a look at this throughout this battle. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the bunker placement. And the one thing I want to point out to you is we're going to draw a quick line here. Look at the max range of the bunkers, right? The max range of every bunker is somewhere like basically right here, right? And why is this important? Because the max range of the bunker with the marine in it is exactly equal to the range a stalker can shoot the bunker from. If you notice, there's no low ground point where a stalker can be and shoot the bunker, which means every unit that wants to attack the bunker has to be in this area, which means they're going to get clumped up, which means you can manually tell your bunkers to focus down sentries and they won't be able to pull back because all their buddies are squeezing in there with them. It also means that your opponent can't isolate a bunker, right? If he casts, if you have your bunkers in a line, right? Let's say this bunker was further back here and this bunker was further back here. Your opponent all of a sudden puts a line of force fields right like this. And these 2 bunkers are useless, and this bunker gets killed, right? But if he does that right now, yes, he can focus this bunker, you can't repair it. But all 3 of your bunkers are all attacking anytime he tries to push up. A very important part of the placement. Make sure that a minimum number of units can attack him. They're not on the edge, so low ground units can't attack him. Make sure they're all hitting the exact same range so that your opponent can't isolate any of the bunkers. And then the other thing, of course, is the production. So notice, constant SCV production along with the units. Very important. Yes, SCVs aren't the ideal fighting units, but they're better than minerals in the bank, which you're going to have against these timing attacks. So, SCVs keep up. Look at this, constant production. Constant production. No matter what your micro is, the macro is always just as important. And you should be the macro perfectly in this type of situation with almost never taking your screen off of the battle. So you're microing, you just use your hotkeys to macro. Maybe you have to jump back to build a depot really quickly once or twice, but it's not that big a deal. And the important part of the macro and attack is one, if you didn't have stim, you didn't have the medevacs, if you canceled those to get to just out of crazy paranoia, he wouldn't have been able to go forward and push the Protoss back. Right? If you didn't have the medevacs, didn't have stim, it wouldn't be GG there. Right? It would be, okay, I didn't kill him, but I have gateway units, he just has basic bio. We're going to progress to the next stage of the game. Because he kept his tech up, which is very important, what we can see here is we can actually take a look at the units tab. And we can see the medevacs with Marines and Marauders. Now, the 3 sentries and 4 stalkers, that's a smaller army than the 5 Marauders, 14 Marines, but it's not that much smaller. If those sentries and stalkers were back at the Protoss base to defend, with an initial warping, he could hold off no problem. But Terran has stim, he can run it down. If Protoss warps additional sentries to delay with force field walls, he has the medevacs, he can jump over it. Even if he pre-stims and gets blocked out, he can regenerate that stim life and can continue the battle. So, important to keep that tech up, because if you continue your tech and SV production, it makes your attack an all-in. If you miss SCVs, if you miss tech, then you're going to hold the attack and still be an even game. Then you'll lose it later and be like, this is baloney. I held his attack, but I didn't win the game. Well, it's because you didn't make his attack by all-in by making the appropriate investments so that you'd automatically win as long as you defend. So, looking back at this game, important things to Terran. Make sure there's a scouting component. In Heart of the Storm, Reaper is the best scout. It's easy. Get a Reaper. You know, you can get gas after expansion, you get the Reaper then, but get a Reaper at some point. Number 2, when you react to it, don't cut your tech or SV production. Number 3, when you're building bunkers, make sure they're positioned with their max range. Usually somewhere in the lower to mid section of the ramp. Make sure there's no low ground spots they can be attacked by. And make sure that none of the bunkers can be isolated by force fields, so it's fighting on its own. This wraps up analysis of game number 2 between Thorzain and Creator. Take a short break and be on to game number 4.